All right, welcome to my Facebook Live. Hopefully everyone can hear me all right. Get the mic set up here and give you all a minute, hopefully, to come in here and we'll have some company here. All right. It is New Year's Eve, by the way, right now, so I hope everyone's getting ready to party. Maybe that's why we'll have a little bit of a light turnout, but that's all right. This thing will live in Facebook for a little while and we'll share it around. So, all right, Shane, first one here. Thank you for joining in. Appreciate it. Hope I can be of some service here. Oh, there's Daniel. Janet, all right. Hey, Janet, hadn't seen you in a while since I think last time I saw you was up in Kentucky, maybe in Nashville. All right. Hey, Alan. All right, we'll go ahead and get started here. All right, what I want to talk about today is based off this blog post that came out this morning over at songwritingpro.com, and it's about are you making your songs too old? Now, by this, I'm not talking about did you write your song too long ago, and I'm not talking about well, actually, what I'm talking about is the singer in your song too old? And I use that term loosely. And y'all let me know if you can't hear me. Hopefully the audio is coming through okay. I'm not blowing anyone out or being too muffled. But anyway, so I want to talk about making your songs too old and how that can be a mistake if you're wanting to get songs cut commercially. Hey, Carrie. Hey, Christopher. And so, all right, got some likes. So I guess y'all can hear me all right. All right, the simple fact of the matter is if you want to get cuts, writing songs that are too old makes them too hard to get cut most of the time. So I'm going to go into what 5 of these are, 5 of these common mistakes that I see. I do a lot of coaching, a lot of listening to songs that people are trying to get in the system, trying to get cut. And these are some things that I noticed that hurt people's chances to get their songs recorded in the current, specifically country market. But really it works for pop. Most of the mainstream markets skew younger, and so this is really relevant to I think to a lot of genres. So it's amazing how one line in a song, or even like 1 or 2 words in a song, can really kind of torpedo your commercial viability of that song. So hey, Reed, and hey, Ross, thanks for joining us. Ross killing it on iTunes sales, from what I understand. So good job there. All right, so you might not even notice that this one line or these couple words have an effect on your song because maybe, you know, in the story in your head that the singer is older, or maybe it's your story and you're just putting it down on paper, right? And you're not really thinking about how that might affect the commercial viability. But if you want to get your songs recorded by other artists, this is important stuff to think about. So here are 5 ways that you might be making your song too old for artists to record. Now, none of these are bad in and of themselves. In fact, some of them might be very important for your song to have in there. But what I want you to do is I want you to be aware of these 5 things. And again, I call them mistakes loosely. I think they're mistakes if you put them in there on accident, or you put them in there not thinking about it. I want you to be aware of these things so you make a conscious decision to say, yes, I'm going to put that in there on purpose, and there's a reason, or no, I'm not going to put this in there, and that is also on purpose and for a reason. So my goal for this is for you to just make a conscious decision, because I think a lot of people do this without realizing the effect it has on your song. So number 1, shacking up. All right, so saying things like you came home or I'm moving out in your song may just be one line in a song. Maybe it's a happy love song and you came home and now we're hanging out. Or it could be a breakup song and you say, you know, I'm getting my stuff and I'm moving out. That means that the lovers or the ex-lovers or soon-to-be exes are living together. And that is a more adult situation. And so younger singers, and there are more and more young singers, just may not sing that. They just may choose not to do that. And so is it important that you're packing up your stuff, or that, you know, she's packing up her stuff and she's moving out? Or is the point of your song, you know, this love is coming to an end and we're breaking up? Sometimes people put, you know, packing up her stuff. We put that in songs because we've heard it 1,000 times, and we don't really think about the implications of that. You know, it means that they're living together, and so therefore, 16, 17-year-old, 20-year-old singer might not put that in their song because that's more of a mature adult kind of situation. Again, some songs may need that, but you want to be aware that just one line like that we usually put on there, I think, on autopilot, right? We've heard packing up, moving out so many times in songs that we feel like we can just throw this in our breakup song. But stop and think for a second. Okay, does this unnecessarily limit the number of singers who could sing this? And hey, Jackie, William, and Mike, thanks for joining us. Or what's important is the fact that we're breaking up and we're not, together anymore. Now, if that's the point of it, maybe you don't have to put in there that, she's packing up her stuff and she's moving out. If that's only like a line, maybe you could show that she's breaking up with you in some other way. That doesn't make it necessary that they're living together, because again, that makes it a little bit older, a little more mature, the artist that could sing that. Whereas if you just remove that, which is not the whole basis of the song, it leaves more people open to be able to sing it. All right, so number 2. Number 1 is shacking up. Number 2, and yes, Reed, that is kind of a dated term, but hey, we go. Number 2 is kids. Something I know a little something about, if you know me. So you might have a nice love song that could work for an artist of any age. And then I've seen it where people have these love songs. I love you and you're my whole world, and girl, you're awesome and everything. And then, and when I look at our kids and the way they're growing up, it amazes me, blah, 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 and back into the chorus. And like all of a sudden, in like one line or a bridge, you suddenly make anyone who would sing this song have to be old enough to have kids, have to be old enough to maybe watch them growing up. Whereas until that point, you had a nice love song that could work for so many artists. It's all when I look into your eyes and you're beautiful and you make me happy and great applies to anybody. Anybody can sing it, then boom. And when I watch our kids, I can't believe it, da-da-da. Now, again, nothing wrong with having kids in your song, but you got to consider your goals. If my goal is to have as many options available commercially for as many artists as possible to record this thing, because it's a great love song, the minute I mention kids, there are a certain number of artists that are just out. There's not going to consider it because it's not their brand. They don't have kids. They feel like they can't sing that believably, whatever it is. They're out of the running, right? You can just check them off the list. That's a place you can't go with that song. Now, if your song is about having kids and that's an integral part of that, then yeah, put it in there. But just realize that that's going to limit the number of artists that could sing this. Again, it's not good or bad. I think it's bad if you put it in there without thinking about it. You just want to make a conscious choice and then live with the consequences, right? You're an adult, you make those decisions, and you go for it. So number 3 would be drinking. This is not as big of a deal, but it will sometimes limit who can sing it. So if you're drinking by the riverside, your singer could be 17 or 18, right? If you're drinking in a bar, unless you mention fake IDs or whatever, the singer has to be like 21, at least here in the States. Or outside Louisiana, I think it's a little bit different. But anyway, usually, 21. And so it might be, again, like a love song or some sort of story song that doesn't revolve around being in the bar, having drinks or whatever, but maybe just one line about that beer, all of a sudden ages the song up more than it has to. Now, again, there are drinking songs and party songs, and okay, yeah, it'd be hard to write a drinking song or a party song without the alcohol. I get that. So again, this is not saying every song should leave that stuff out, but just looking at going, do I need this in my song? Now, it might be the right thing to put in there if it fits the brand and fits, the kind of artist you're going for, that sort of thing. But if it's otherwise, could be a very youthful song and just not about that. There are a lot of songs that just don't mention alcohol at all, and that just leaves it open for people to, more singers to sing it. So that's just something to make a conscious decision on. All right, so far we got shacking up, kids, and drinking. So number 4 is working. I don't know if you've noticed, but like pretty much nobody in country music these days has a job. All right, it used to be more common like in the 90s, people, working man blues and, well, that was Haggard, but, working man's PhD, all those Aaron Tippin songs and a lot more country songs where people had jobs. If you turn on the radio right now, most people don't have jobs. And so, again, not good or bad, you just have to pick your shots, right? So maybe you're just looking for a way to get into the point of your song is, it's Friday night, I want to get rowdy, that kind of thing, right? Just a party song. Okay. But it's so easy to start off with like worked all week, boss is a jerk, that sort of thing, right? Just to get going. Thing is, do you need that? I know that's a common way to get into it. You're setting it up why you want to go off steam and why you want to get rowdy. Is my boss is a jerk and I've done it at work, and hey, jerk and work rhymes. Okay, there we go. But again, that's kind of autopilot. Can we remove that and just talk about maybe it's been a bad week, or you're just like a dog on a chain and you're ready to bust loose and that sort of thing, where it could be just, yes, it could apply to somebody working, or maybe it's somebody that's been in school all week, or maybe that's some other situation where it doesn't have to be somebody who's got the day job. I mean, again, man, most of these country songs don't mention the 9 to 5, and it just makes it a little more mature. Again, some songs require that to write the idea right. You got to put that in there. But I'm just saying, if you do it, just make sure you do it on purpose. And sometimes we put those things in there on autopilot. We don't have to put them in there. All right, so number 5, last thing I want to mention is old love. So again, you got a love song, you're singing to the girl, or you're singing to the guy, and everything's roses and all this good stuff. And then all of a sudden, like in the bridge, you're saying one thing about, yeah, in all these years we've been together, you've never let me down, blah, blah, blah. But that's not the point of the song. The point of the song is I love you, right? But just in that one line about, and all these years, all of a sudden, that guy that's 18 is not going to sing that, because he's not old enough to be with somebody all these years, or that's not his persona or whatever. So one thing like that can, again, limit who can sing it. It's going to make it feel like an older singer. Again, not a bad thing if your song revolves around that and needs that, and that fits the brand of the artist you're going for. But a lot of artists, it cuts down on your options, right? And I want you to have as many options as possible when you write your song, not to vanilla, make it all vanilla where it's a bunch of mush and means nothing. But when you write this stuff specifically and as emotional and real as possible, you make choices about what to leave in, what to leave out. And sometimes, you can write a love song for your wife of 30 years and still make it in a way that's applicable to, an 18-year-old, depending on what details you put in, what details you put out. And again, but it could also be relevant to an artist, who has been married for 20 years or is an older artist. And so I think it's wise to look at what I'm leaving in, look at what I'm taken out of the song, to give me as many options as possible with where to go with this. I'm going to start looking through the comments a little bit. Kids in the lyrics are no interest to artists who don't have at least one. Read, probably not. It's hard. I mean, these days, so many folks are autobiographical. Other times in music, people would take on characters a lot more. Right now, at least, man, people aren't taking on characters too much. They kind of have their brand and everything's kind of autobiographical. And if they aren't living it or haven't lived it, they don't want to talk about it. So again, if they haven't had kids or don't have kids that are, learning to drive, they're not going to sing that because it makes them seem older and they want to feel like, and look like they're 21 perpetually. So Jason, thanks for the comments there. I'm glad to help out. Let's see. Funny, Billy. All right, let's see if you have any questions here. No. Hey, Seth. Hey, Larry. Thanks for joining us. Hey, one thing before we go. So this is based on a blog post. So if you just more of a reader than a watcher, you can link to this at the in the comments there. I put the in the video description. I put a link to the blog post. You can check that out. Also let you know about a cool event I have coming up that you may, if this is of interest to you and you want to write commercial songs and you want to write a hit, I have a workshop coming up called Building a Hit. Helps you, going to help you get there. So it's a lot of techniques and stuff I use and a lot of the mindsets. You can check that out through that link. Also have a gift for you for hanging out. It's giftfrombrent.com, and it's my free ebook. It's called Think Like a Pro Songwriter. Just gives you some of the lessons I've learned in my years in the music business. And you can get that at giftfrombrent.com. That's in the link over in the description. Let's see if y'all have any questions or anything. We'll jam for a couple minutes here. Oh, Mondo, you do have a question. That's right. I saw that up there. Let me scroll back up there and see if I can find it. All right. How important is it to write with younger writers to be more relatable with your song lyrics to the younger audience? I know that's one thing a lot of veteran writers like to do is they like to write with younger writers just because the language is different, just the way that kids communicate, whatever, younger audience, writing with writers that are more in the audience that, music's aiming for is not a bad thing. And you look at it, what strength do they bring? They may bring like a fresh melodic sense. They may just bring a fresh way of speaking and a fresh language to the song that as, a more veteran writer, that's not how you talk, right? So they can bring that value. What value you can bring is your years of experience, how to craft a song, how to ask these questions, that sort of thing. You kind of know the rules, right? But they may speak in a way that you don't, in a way that's more relatable. So yeah, I think it's a good idea to do that. And I know pro writers and veteran writers, that's one of the things they look for and why they write with the younger writers. It's to stay fresh and to stay current and just to hear that language and let them shape some of that. Because let's face it, a veteran writer doesn't need a young writer for the craft purposes most of the time. We want fresh ideas, fresh angles, fresh language. We want, help us say it like the audience says it, right? So we don't age ourselves out. So I think it's a good question, and I think it's important. So hey, William, hey to Nevada. Although I'm not real happy with Nevada because they beat my Arkansas State Red Wolves in the bowl game the other day. So I'm not super happy with that, but I'll let it go for now. All right. Anyone else have any questions? I'm going to try and do these more often, so let me know if you want more of these. But I know we're going on about 15 minutes, and I try not to do these too awful long. But yeah, so those 5 things. Just remember, again, I don't want you to think that these 5 things should not be in your songs. These 5 quote unquote mistakes, right? Which really aren't mistakes. Just know the effect they're going to have on your song, and if it's going to help you take that to more artists, or if it's going to hurt your chances to get it to more artists. And then you make that decision. I mean, I have plenty of songs where I do, have kids in there or other things in there, but it's one of those things where that serves a song really well. And if I take that out, it's going to hurt the song too much. Sometimes I just choose not to write those songs because I want to write something more broad, more pitchable. Other times I'm like, this is what it is. I'm going to write it this way. And I just know that I'm going to have to pitch it to artists that do that. So Reed, glad you like the sessions. They're valuable. I appreciate it. I have fun with these too. So, all right, if there are no more questions, I'm going to bounce out. I'll try to do at least one of these a week. So check back. But thanks y'all for listening, and I'll see you on the next one. All right. God bless. You can check out that link in that giftfrombrent.com. Get that free ebook. Hope it helps you on your journey. Thanks a lot. Whoa, big hand. Look at that. All right. Bye. Oh, new comment. We'll check that real quick. All right. Thanks, Matthew. And thanks, William. We'll see y'all.